I'm going to demonstrate how to stretch a timber in SketchUp so that it works properly with the TF Rubies. The first thing I'm going to do is use the tape measure tool. I'm going to put a line up here at 13 feet, which is going to be the eave height. I'm going to grab a post timber out of my library and set it in the model. Now, the top half of this timber here needs to be stretched so that the eave point is up at this eave line. Now, what I don't want to use is the scale tool. The scale tool is going to distort the geometry. For example, the top of the rafter is set at 12/12, and that'll get distorted to some other pitch if I use the scale tool. So here's what we do instead. Double-click the timber to select it, to edit it, and then select the entire upper half of the timber to get all of this joinery. Now, using the Move tool, grab it here at the eave point and stretch it up to where you want it to be. Now note what happens if I'm not careful about locking my inference. The timber can wobble all over the place. What you want to do is press and hold the Shift key to lock you onto that plumb line. And then you can come up to the eave line and snap it into place. And then click outside the timber to stop editing it. So I've stretched that post to the right height without distorting the geometry at the end of the timber. I'm going to make a copy of this timber. And I'm going to move it about 13 feet, spin it around, and now I'm going to put a girt between the two. So I'm going to pick a girt out of my library, something with 2 tenons, spin it around, and now using the Move tool, I'm going to place it where I want it. Now note where I'm grabbing the timber. I'm grabbing it here at the point where the joint meets the main body of the timber. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to set it down right there on the ground. I put it on the ground so that I can find the right height. I know where I'm starting from. So I still have the Move tool, and I move it up, get it going in the right direction, and then type in the actual value that I want, which is 7 feet. Okay, now the girt's at the right height, but it's not the right length. It needs to be stretched so that this joint here meets with this timber. So we're going to repeat the steps that we did before. Double-click the timber to edit it, and select the entire end of the timber so you get the joint and all this geometry that's at the end of the timber. And again, we're going to use the Move tool. Now, hover your mouse over one of the edges of the timber, then press and hold the Shift key. It's the same trick we did before. It's going to lock our inference engine so that the timber stays on the level line and it doesn't move all around. And just go over to that face that we want to mate to and click to drop it. Hit the space bar to drop the Move tool, click outside the timber to stop editing it, and there you have it. I'm just going to turn on X-ray mode here briefly so that we can see that the joint is inside the timber, but no more and no less. That's how you stretch a timber.